be having some good traffic. We won't be fighting a lot of the traffic. Los Angeles is known to have some pretty bad freeways. In fact, we're known to have the worst freeway system in the country. And that's because everybody in Los Angeles loves to drive. Everybody loves driving in their vehicle, and it's usually one person per vehicle. We have when we get closer into the city, we have carpool lanes that I'll point out to you, and thankfully the carpool lanes let you go a little bit faster. In fact, our rush hour are usually amounts of rain, so we have a lot of flooding. Streets are flooded, and also when you get higher up into the mountains, there's a lot of mudslides and a lot of homes that see damage because of the amounts of rain that's occurred. Also, is everyone familiar with the Malibu fires? Have you heard of the fires up in Malibu? These are caused because of the Santa Ana winds. And the Santa Ana winds can be anywhere from 70 miles per hour to 110 miles per hour. So, it's really easy for these fires to happen or to, start. Just don't put your campfire out all the way, or somebody throws out a cigarette, or for whatever reason, these fires start with the Santa Ana winds changing all the time. It's really hard to control. In fact, I saw about 3 years ago, there was a really big fire that happened in Malibu. And there's a few entrances into the city. There's Malibu Canyon, there's Canaan, and then if you drive along the Pacific Coast Highway, you can exit down through Santa Monica. But when there's that complete disaster when that occurred. Yeah, you can see the Hollywood sign a little better off of the left-hand side of the bus. Of course, downtown on the right, and Hollywood on the left. The Twilight fans camped out for 3 days to see the new Twilight movie at the Nokia Theater. I was actually working on a movie with Robert Pattinson when they were camped out there for 3 days. And they're also building up a large tower for homes. They already have sold the penthouse of that tower, which won't be completed for another 2 years. They're still building it, and they sold it for like $7.5 million already. The left-hand side is a studio lot called the Los Angeles Center Studios, where they do a lot of filming. They do a lot of the daytime judge shows there. They also did Mad Men. I don't think that's their home studio, but they were filming on one of the streets doing Mad Men there. And you can also see all of the architecture. One of the things I love about downtown Los Angeles is not only are they building modern, chic new buildings, but they also have a lot of the older historical buildings that they keep standing as well. We passed by this really beautiful church just a moment ago that was just right on the back, and it's a very old historical. It has a lot of detail, a lot of mosaic style tops in Los Angeles. And we're actually getting off the freeway here, and we're getting off in more of the the music and art district of downtown. So the building that's kind of right behind us on the right, that's the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. Dorothy Chandler was a really influential woman in Los Angeles history. She was actually married to one of the mayors at one point. But what's really special about her is she loved the arts and she loved music so much that she would get together with her girlfriends, who were all pretty wealthy, aristocratic women, and they would go downtown and they would ask for coins and cups to have an area created, for music. And eventually the city just kind of got annoyed with her that they had the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion made in her honor. That's currently where the Los Angeles Opera performs, but that was once home of the Oscars as well. Now this fountain that's right in front of us is called the Los Angeles. And then also this yellow building on the left, there's a Natural History Museum. There's also a couple studios that are right on the hills of Griffith Park where they film Private Practice and Grey's Anatomy. One of our great theaters, and it's very beautiful on the inside. And just right to the side of the Pantages Theater is a little bar called the Frolic Room. This is where a lot of famous people would go and hang out in this bar, because this intersection right here is called Hollywood and Vine. Now before we had all of cell phones and computers, we can get a hold of anybody by the push of a button. This is where everybody would come together to see what was going on in the city and try and get work and future projects that were coming. So everybody would come and hang out in the Frolic Room, and then another restaurant up here to be what Hollywood and Highland is, all the way down to Hollywood and La Brea, because that is the most popular block, but eventually they're going to expand it. Now the gentleman that actually owns this block right here purchased it for like $500 million, and they said that because the economy was what it was when he purchased it, it's supposed to double in like the next 15 years, so he made quite a good deal. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but I want to point out a few things. We are going to be walking through this area, so don't worry if you can't get great photos right now. We're going to get some great opportunities here in just a moment. But on the left-hand side, we have the El Capitan Theater. You see it right there, like the marquee? The El Capitan is located right next to the Walt Disney soda fountain and studio store, which is actually the only place where you can buy Disney merchandise without being in the Disney parks. Now, the El Capitan is the largest grossing movie theater in the country, and that's because it's owned by Disney. Disney purchased it in 1971, and they only showed Disney movies there. And they have a huge event with meet and greets with the characters.